again, that old concept of sitting there waiting for a record deal. What advice do you have, again, to the young creatives?
Well, you know, I've always kind of began and end with, you know, the fundamental things of why you even have an interest in music at all. And that is, if you don't got your soul intact, forget about it. Because from the soul, your spirit, your passion, your desires, everything that makes you compelling, everything that will cause you to stand out, or to be able to connect with people in a deep and meaningful way. If that's not intact, you're in the wrong business. The other side of that, even if you are on the business side of it, a lot of old school executive styles are losing because they didn't have soul. And you're in the first generation, please walk out of here with this, you're in the first generation where people have the ability to customize their time. My daughter, when I'm interacting with her, she literally has a choice she can make. You know, she's got 10 minutes before school starts. She can say, do I want to watch something on YouTube? Do I want to Google something? Do I want to talk to dad? Blah, blah, blah. This generation owns their time. And whenever you get into that kind of space, you're looking at probably one of the most freakish levels of the game that we've ever experienced. And that means you got to have a sensitivity. You got to have something about you that people can actually relate to, connect with. If you're writing songs, go beyond you. Think about people. I mean, some of the things I've heard up here, especially what Tom was talking about, I built my entire business model on charity when nobody was, you know, at least to my knowledge, nobody was doing it. I think that's amazing. You've been around in it for 23 years. I started 15 years ago, everything from HIV awareness to breast cancer, concerts, education, anything I could get into that I believed in or I thought that I could connect with, I turned those into concerts. I wouldn't just be speaking and lecturing and advocating. I actually, you know, made myself an opportunity to perform. And from there, I got to connect with people at a much deeper level. So I think that it's a little bit about being way out of the box, because life is so free-spirited now, there's so much access now, that there's no longer an uncool factor. The only thing that's uncool is you not being the true you. And how do you translate that into your business? So for me, what worked for me was being from the soul with everything that I did. And I was able to go into pockets where sponsors couldn't get into. Schools and colleges and community centers, fixed groups, just like yourself, whether it's 50 people or it's 2,500 students, captive audiences for an hour or 2 hours. Now all of a sudden, you know, here comes Converse with me. Here comes so-and-so. I can invite them into the room for a special purpose. And the reason why I bring that up is because every business, every corporation, keep this in mind. Number one, it's just got regular people behind the desk. It's not a big bad wolf industry. So a lot of independent artists, I think, approach the business like there's this huge industry and it's all untouchable because you drive by the buildings and the big logos on the top and it's all this, and it's just, man, there ain't nobody in there but you. It's just you up there, going through the same life, paying the same bills, dealing with the same kind of relationship issues, coming from the same religions, the same political stances, the whole nine, it's all going on. So you got to lose the fear and make sure that the confidence level that you have, again, coming from the soul, is really representing. Because it comes down to this. Do you want to take a risk on you? You have to collaborate. You have to have strategic partnerships. Crush the whole ideology that independent means you're doing it by yourself. It means you have to be a great collaborator. So any and every opportunity you get to work with people, you got to take that opportunity. I remember meeting Stone damn near 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And Stone's worked with everybody in the business. And he was in the middle of a project with Jay-Z and all these guys. And we recorded a record in 24 hours just to see if we could do it. Yeah. From scratch. Yeah. 12 joints. It was an amazing experience. And I haven't seen him since that time. So to connect with him here, and now we can go into other things and make other things happen. How you present from the first go that you get an opportunity to connect with someone is going to stay with them for a lifetime. Immediately when I saw him, I began thinking to myself, man, this dude started producing tracks from scratch as I wrote. I'll never forget it. So imagine that on every level of business that you go interact with. And would you take the risk on you? What would you want to see from you if you were the one that had to put the money up? If you had to sponsor it, or if you had to book your show? Do you want your venue to have you on stage? So step outside of yourself and be really real, be really honest, And don't ever forget that there's value in the metrics. There's value in assessment. I think that when Stone was speaking about how it's a numbers game, it absolutely is. Indulge in that. Get on. I love going to RIAA.com and just checking out what's going on, what fights they're battling with, for royalties from YouTube and Spotify. And I love checking out the legal battles and everything that's happening that's out there to protect the wheel of your investment and what you're doing with yourself and with your properties. But I think that ultimately, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, money is a byproduct. Money follows what it trusts. Money finds quality and says, man, I want in. I want that experience. I want to connect. I want that shirt. I want those shoes. It's all product at the end of the day, but how you come off and how you represent it, particularly as an independent, is critical. Wear it with your soul. If you don't feel it, you already know you're off right there. Find a way to feel it and get that rhythm about yourself so that no matter what you're doing, it comes off. For me, that resulted in amazing partnerships with Starbucks and Apple. I'm wearing one of my sponsors right now. This is a Gorin Brothers hat. They're in the room with me. Shout out to Gorin Brothers. One love. Can't wait for the check. That's what it's about. And you got to find those ways to make that unique for you. But all those relationships and partnerships that I built were based off the soul. So guess what? When I got to Starbucks, I met the executive vice president, black lady, Paula Boggs, multimillionaire, former VP of Dell, former head of the Pentagon, former partner Preston Gates Ellis, also just so happens to be a musician. Just so happened to be getting ready to retire. Just so happened to come out to a Starbucks store to watch what I was doing and co-signed it that day. Sent out a letter to all the corporate bodies saying, this is it, this is what we want, let this brother do his thing. His model is great, it fits our initiatives. He's in schools, he loves people, his music is phenomenal, blah, 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 blah. And we've been, 4 years later, we're now releasing product from what we've captured exclusively in Starbucks stores. That led into Apple picking up the phone and saying, we want it. How can we get him? How can he come into our stores and do this, but do this for technology? How does he feel about technology? How does he use it? I said, perfect, I've been waiting on him too. Let's get ready to cut that check. Because at the end of the day, I care about people, so I don't give a damn who you are. I'm an activist first. So if you don't have something that connects with people to push them further in life, then it's irrelevant to people because they can go find something else. I tell people all the time, man, please kick the truth, because kids can just go Google and see if you're kicking them some real shit or not. It's not that hard to figure it out now. So there's no lies. Just be authentic, be true, be you, keep your soul in the forefront, money or not.
Again, being independent is being in business for yourself, but not by yourself. It's about building a team, building multiple revenue streams. Don't bank on the one hit, the one, big break. Get in and get a lot of irons in the fire. Ben, again, entertainment attorney. Ben, why don't you talk a little bit about, again, the opportunities you see today for independent artists, where some of the money is